For crops that look like this come harvest, farmers must put in plenty of time, work, and of course, money during the growing season. And some of those costs include regularly fertilizing their fields in order to promote healthy development. However, it's a practice that's becoming increasingly expensive.
In 2008, that was kind of the high water mark, if you will. They really peaked in 2008, around 80 cents per pound of NP and K. But then they went down in 2009, and we are approaching those levels with N and with nitrogen and phosphorus right now. Maybe not quite so with potash yet, and we're hoping it doesn't go that high. But we're approaching those prices in 2008, and the bigger question is will they go back down again in the spring or by the time we plant crops in 2022?
Even though a shortage in supply and increase in demand can explain the surge in price, there are a number of factors that led up to it.
You almost have to take the nutrients separately. For example, with nitrogen, it's tied to natural gas prices. The natural gas prices are up right now, and not all, and some plants have been shut down. We have some short-term things like the hurricanes in the Gulf affected it, but in the long run, it has a lot to do with just the price of producing these fertilizers.
With agriculture being the #1 industry in the state, several farmers would be affected by the increased cost. However, one crop would be under the most pressure.
When you look at it, corn probably needs the most fertilizer, especially nitrogen. So, in theory, that one should be hurt. Ironically, that one's probably driving the demand because we had a good year. Really, all the crop commodity prices are pretty good right now. You take cotton, for example, it's pretty high. Cotton doesn't take as much fertilizer, especially as much nitrogen, so we might be a little bit better off there. And of course, peanuts that we grow here in South Georgia, they fix their own nitrogen, so we can get around that one. But so I would have to say overall, if the prices stay high, I'd worry more about how we're going to get all the fertilizer on corn.
As for what can be done to control some of those added costs, growers are encouraged to properly maintain their field in order to get the most out of the fertilizer they use.
There's no magic bullets to say when it comes to dealing with these high fertilizer prices. Do a lot of things we should do anyway. Good soil sampling, use a reputable lab for recommendations. Maybe not one that has a lot of maintenance this year. Might have to draw on some of the maintenance you've been doing on things like P and K in years past. And then there's other things we have a tendency to forget about, like liming and pH. Having your pH in the proper range will help you with uptake of all the fertilizer nutrients. There's some other things we've tried, things like banding fertilizer, but that we don't think that gives you a lot of efficiency, and you got to really be careful when you start cutting your inputs like that and cutting back on your fertilizer, because you say I abandoned it, you might still come up short. So you got to be careful on some of those strategies.
Reporting from Tift County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.